Spring is here, and it seems like a lot of you guys are considering relocating again. So I thought I'd give you a breakdown of my cost of living here in Portugal, and also compared to my former cost of living in Holland. If you decide it's finally time to escape and you're considering Portugal as an option, then this breakdown of the real cost of living might be for you. Cost of living in Portugal is probably lower than you think. I hear things in Northern Europe are getting pretty crazy at the moment. In Holland they want to introduce a new law where you have to keep paying your tax after immigration to another country.
The Netherlands wants to be the latest country to tax you for the privilege of leaving, from moving out.
And in Germany apparently you now have to, as a young man, ask permission if you can leave the country.
Requires men of military age to get permits from Germany's armed forces for travel, work, or study abroad.
So things are getting seriously out of hand. It might be a good time for you to escape. In this video you can compare your cost of living with the cost of living when you would be living in Portugal. First of all, you need a house. And no matter if you rent or if you buy a house, prices in Portugal depend a lot on the location. So I made a small map to show you guys what the difference is in the areas of Portugal related to the price of properties. Looking at this map of Portugal, I made an estimate of the prices for the different areas. If the girls stop barking, then I can explain it to you. As you can see, the east of the country is the cheapest part. In the south we have the Algarve, which is mostly the priciest part, together with the capital city, Lisbon. And Porto is also getting pretty expensive. And this is in a radius around these big cities. It's expensive. Where we are is one of the cheapest areas, together with a little bit more to the south. It's also the driest and the hottest areas. Of course, it also depends on if you want to live in a city or if you want to live rural. For example, here in the nearby city of Castelo Branco, which has about 30,000 inhabitants, you already pay like maybe between 400 and 500 for a small apartment. And the same thing here in the rural area you could get for half of that price. But then you're like 20 to 30 minutes from the bigger cities. You do have to be a bit careful nowadays with what's on offer. 200 to 250 euros for a rural area, you will only get that with the locals, not with foreigners or locals who are renting out for allogement lokaal, guest houses. So yeah, you have to be a bit careful with the prices that they ask for renting, but mostly for buying also. It's getting a bit ridiculous sometimes. Now I have to go get the rest of my notes. Yeah, you might think that a tech guy has all his notes on his computer, but no, I love paper also still. Let's say you want to buy in windy Portugal. So for my house, which is 85 square meters in soon to be comfortable living space, and the land is about 1,300 square meters. It's a part over here that you may be well known with, and also I have a shed with it on the other side of the road with also a small piece of land. And this costed me 20,000 euro. Now keep in mind, this was 4 years ago, and prices have risen in Portugal quite a bit. By now I spend about 14,000 on renovating, with a big part being the roof, 7,000 euro. Also, we recently bought a heat pump for €3,000 that still needs to be installed. And we have about €4,000 in different other costs. Mostly cement and paint. Mind you, this is like only what I spent on this house. Now, in comparison to Holland, I was living pretty cheaply in Holland. I spent €400 a month. And this was because I looked for houses with special circumstances. I'll come back to that in the end of this video. For some advice for you guys. But normally in Holland you would spend like €800 a month if you're lucky for a reasonably small place near a city. So that's, if I take my 400 a month and I take that over 10 years, that's already €50,000. So if you can live cheaper than the 800, for instance for 400, you could save €50,000 in 10 years. Which would comfortably buy this house. But now I have no mortgage. Because I saved up €20,000, a little bit more. So I have no monthly cost now in my house, which makes a big difference. Then the electricity costs. I pay now about €100 on average for the last couple of years per month. Within the winter it being 120, 130, and in the summer it being 70 or 80. But we now installed solar, and I think for this year we're gonna come to maybe €70 a month, maybe even lower. So that's saving me quite a lot. In Holland I paid around 160 a month. I think we need a coffee, guys. This video isn't the same without a coffee. Coffee. Where was I? So, yeah, it's about €60 difference, but with the solar, with small investment, I can get it to almost €100 difference compared to what I was paying in Holland. Then we also have water. I don't have the idea that it's much different. I paid like 40 or 45 euros for every 3 months in Holland. And here it's like 12 or 15 a month, so that averages out about the same. For technical connectivities, for technics and connectivities, my phone subscription and the internet. Now in Holland I paid a little bit more because I had like a special business, subscription. What was not really necessary and needlessly expensive. But I paid together like €130 for internet and mobile in Holland. But normally you would pay like maybe 70 or 80 euros maximum for the two together. Here in Portugal, I had before Starlink, what costs 40 euros a month. What is a very good solution. I hear people around here are very happy with their Starlink connection. And it's not that expensive. I decided to upgrade to even faster, like a 1 gigabyte internet from the local provider NOS. And I'm getting that speed, but I pay 65 euros a month. But that is including the mobile phone. If you would pay that separate, it would be maybe like 15 euro or something, or 20 a month. But you already have mobile phones with data here for like 14, 15 euros a month. Maybe it's a good time here to introduce my Excel sheet. Is it that guy? I made a spreadsheet called. With the cost that I paid in Holland, then what I pay now in Portugal, and what would be like sort of the minimum that you would pay here in Portugal, to give you an idea what is possible. So let's put in the stuff we already had, like the house. I paid 400. This would actually be 800 normally if you rent a house in Holland. Electricity was 160. Water was 15. My internet was 65, but my mobile was also 65. And here in Portugal we don't pay for the rent. We pay about €100 on average for the last 4 years, but this is probably going down now to hopefully 50 or 60. Then we pay for the water like €15, and for the internet and mobile together we pay 65. The minimum you would pay here, like for renting a house, would be €250 if you want to live rural. The minimum for electricity would be solar, although it takes an investment. So otherwise take my electricity use as a guideline. And then we have for the water, you would always pay like €12 minimum. 30 for an internet connection, 15 for a mobile phone. And now we come to more interesting parts, for me at least. So we have 2 cars now, right? One is the van, and that is still unfortunately Dutch. Hopefully that changes soon. But in Holland I pay €150 a month for this van in insurance. And this is not because I have had so many accidents that I need to pay more. That's just sort of the average. And I selected one of the cheaper ones. For the Mazda, the Portuguese car, we pay about €200, a little less, per year. So that's like €15 a month instead of 150. That would also be like the minimum you would pay here, I think, like €15 a month for car insurance. And then another interesting point is the healthcare insurance, which in Holland is mandatory. Everybody is obligated to have a health insurance. And the cheapest one that I had is, it was like €100, and now it's the last 2 years it's already €150 a month. And I don't even use it, guys. I never go to a doctor. The only thing I would need is a dentist. And the dentist insurance in Holland is like so high for people who have more than like 10 cavities that you just want to pay the dentist like from your pocket. So that was not really useful for me in Holland. And the same kind of insurance I can get here for like €40 a month. But I wouldn't even need it here, because they also have national health care. So if you need to go to a hospital or something, or to a doctor, it's I think all of it, but at least mostly it's paid by the government. So only if you want like extra things like private hospitals or stuff like that, you can insure yourself extra for that. I don't think there are much people in Portugal who have extra health insurance, but correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not gonna need it. So those two already gave me monthly like a saving of €200 minimum. So then another subject is groceries. And one thing you need to know is that I don't care too much about prices in a grocery shop. You need to eat anyway, and I don't really look at individual prices of things. So what I spend can be reduced significantly with the same kind of nutritional values, I'd say, for a much lower price. But I am, for one, too busy to go to multiple supermarkets to get the cheaper stuff, or maybe sometimes even the better stuff. I just stop at Ocean and load my cart up, and that costs me about 150 euro every week, including the food for the girls. Food and girls in one sentence. Which is about 40 euros a week. So that's like 110 euros for me. But in Holland, unexpected visitors. Because I have a YouTube channel, normally you get no unexpected visitors in central Portugal. Where was I? Groceries. So in Holland I used to spend 750 euros a month. But it's fair to say that it's also including home deliveries, home delivered meals. And it's not possible here in rural Portugal, so I have to buy everything from the supermarket now. So it's not that big of a difference for me. 750 euros in Holland, 600 on average here. But I think if you would shop more sensible than me, it could be around 300 euros a month. The prices in the supermarkets here don't vary that much, in my opinion, with, for instance, Holland. And then you can also still have numerous other expenses, like fuel, for instance, what is not much different with Northern Europe. Here we pay about the same price as in Holland. Although in Holland it's now... it was a little bit crazy also, I heard. The vet for the girls. I remember when I had a dog in Holland that it... is some time ago already. It was already like 50 euros for a consult. And here they ask like 25 or 30. So that's a lot cheaper. Also my dentist, if I need to have like a cavity filled... In Holland it's directly like over 100 euro. And here I pay, the most I ever spent at the dentist was like 50 euro for a visit. Yeah, the additional living costs, clothes, I don't really know the prices in Portugal because I'm a tall Dutch guy. And I can't find any clothes here, so I order online. I imagine it's like almost the same price. Although just with food you can also get here stuff like locally made or on markets and stuff, what would save you some more cash. So yeah, if we put that all together in our spreadsheet, I almost save now half of my expenses. So before it was, yeah, it's crazy. Holland is very expensive. About 1,700 euros. And here I spend around 800. While I don't live that cheaply. Yeah, and the minimum what you would be paying here, I know there's a lot of people who can bring this number even further down. But for 622 euros, you can live here in Portugal. I would say modestly. So yeah, I'm keeping a lot more of my earned money while I'm here in Portugal. Although I still have some Dutch expenses, like the car. I want to save even more, like with the solar coming. I think we can bring the numbers even further down. So we can spend more money on renovating. So if you want to escape your current situation and maybe come and live in Portugal, the best thing you can do is start preparing as soon as possible. Akira is welcoming you already. Yeah, you need preparation. And if you don't have money, you need to save up. And you can do this in different kind of ways. Like I said in the beginning of this video, I paid only 400 euros in rent per month. This was mainly because I rented it. This is like this sort of anti-squat policy. It's like for empty buildings where you can rent them for cheap because the owners don't want other people to get in there. And I did this multiple times through organizations, but also directly with people who I knew that had buildings where this could be possible. Where I lived for 4 years for 400 euros a month. So that saved me a lot of money. And yeah, if you're young, you should stay like with your parents while you're making money. You can put a lot of money aside. And if you're a little bit older, you maybe want to team up with other people or live in a community or only rent a room or stuff like this to save in rental costs and maybe even like share food costs with people. This would allow you to put a lot of money aside and basically cut costs as much as possible for things you don't need. One experience from myself is that when I say save, for me it's very hard to save up money. And for me it's much easier to work myself out of debt. Now I'm not saying that you all should get in debt, but maybe you should test if this also works for you the same. Because if I have a debt, for me it's much more urgency to get rid of the debt. And when I save up, somehow it always seems to go slower than when I, for instance, need to work myself out of a debt. So a possible thing could be that you, while you're in your job still there, get a loan from a bank and try to buy something in Portugal, and over the next 5 years gather some more money and get rid of the debt and try and make your way to Portugal that way. Could be a suggestion. If you want my help, on my website there is a page dedicated to helping people coming to Portugal. And if you have like a simple question and you don't want to send me like a whole story, then you can just do this on email. I'm willing to answer like 1 or 2 simple questions. But if you ask from me like a time investment to read like a whole email from you and answer multiple questions, I think it's fair that that there's some compensation for my time investment. And I don't think this should be backwards. So a lot of people tell me in the email like, answer these questions for me and after we will come and help, or after I will get your service. This is not how it works for me. For me, you have to first give and then take. I don't like when people ask without eventually giving anything. Not that for everything has to be given something, but I have quite a big audience, and maybe you can imagine that I get a lot of emails and questions. So I also have a paid service there, and you can book a meeting, an online meeting, or even an in-person meeting, and we can discuss all your questions and concerns, and I can give you my honest opinions on things, if you like. So yeah, for that check the website. You can also come and volunteer. This is also on the website, and this would also be like your time investment for me. You can come and ask me some questions. But it's mostly volunteering is mostly about the experience. So you guys can also, if you want to taste how it is to spend some time in Portugal. And I will help you out in return if you have any questions about moving to Portugal or how you can escape the rat race. One of the next videos will also be an interesting one. I'm gonna try and give you some options on how you can make some money in Portugal. So if you want to be notified for that, subscribe to the channel. And if you want to see more of the daily life in Portugal, maybe you don't know, we also have a daily channel. It goes down daily. It's also linked in the description. Or just give it a search, Goes Down Daily. And you can see me almost daily in my activities here in rural Portugal. Until the next time.